in a family of 8 children. My father was a military man, my mother from Oklahoma. My eldest brother, his job, his responsibility was to be better or just like the father. The second boy, he had only one job, and that was to be better than the first boy. I, being the third boy, had a life of leisure, joy, nearly luxury. I got all of their clothes after they had worn them for just a little bit of time. So not only did I have my own clothes, but I had each set of my brother's clothes. Being the third boy with 2 sisters that followed me, I really did not have any responsibilities or chores. By the time it was my turn to learn to do the things that my brothers had already begun doing, like washing the dishes or cooking in the kitchen, my sisters were there. So me, not so much to do. I was just in charge of things that I put myself in charge of. I was in charge of TV. Yeah, it was my job. Well, we only had like 3-4 stations back then, but I was in charge of what we would watch. You see, with a name like King, you grow up thinking that when you turn the TV channel, everybody in the neighborhood TV channel turned. That's how I thought. My name was Billy King. So if I turned the TV, that's what everybody watched. Well, it's real important this day. It was very important that we watch Bonanza. I like Bonanza. I like Bonanza because of Little Joe. He, too, was the third, but there was Adam and Hoss and Little Joe. Not only did Little Joe look like me because we was both cute, but he had a hot gun and his horse was the purtiest, right? So when I came home, it was time to turn to Bonanza, but on this particular day, my big brother, don't know what got into him, decided that he was going to watch Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo? No. It's time to watch Bonanza. So I went and I turned the TV channel to Bonanza, and he got up and turned it back to Scooby-Doo. So I turned it back to Bonanza, and he turned it back to Scooby-Doo. Then I turned it back to Bonanza. He turned it back to Scooby-Doo. I turned it to Bonanza, and I took the knob and threw it. It seemed like the right thing to do at the time. I threw the knob. Now, in our backyard, we had a tree, beautiful tree. It didn't leave, and it couldn't bear fruit. It was just a tree that grew up out of the ground, and the branches grew off of the trunk, and off the branches grew switches. It's called a switch tree. You can't buy that tree anywhere in America. That's a tree that your daddy planted. Somehow he got it from Texas. I don't know. But that tree grew in our backyard all through our childhood. Once you do something like throw the knob, it's time to go out and visit the tree. Bring back a switch. But on this day, Daddy didn't tell me to go get a switch. Well, I knew what was coming then. In that case, we had an ottoman. You know that piece of furniture where when you sit down in a chair, you can lift your feet and put it on the ottoman. I didn't learn that that's what that was for until I was a grown man. You see, there's a couple of things I learned after I grew up. One is that extension cords are designed to bring electricity from one part of the house to the other part of the house. Oh, I didn't know. I thought that they were an attitude adjustment device. That's what I thought they were. And the ottoman, that was where you got yourself into position so Daddy didn't have to run after you all day trying to put some sense back into your head. I don't know how they thought that hitting you here, it would just roll up and through your brain, but that was how we grew up. On this day, Daddy said, I want you each to go out there and get a branch off the tree. Not the little spindly one that just grows off of the branch. He wanted a branch. And all 3 of us went outside. All 3 of us were able to break a branch off the tree and bring it into the house. We stood there holding these branches. Dad just very quietly said, now, break the branch. No problem. I grabbed hold of my branch with my two hands right here, put my thumbs right like where they go, and I broke the branch. My brother, he broke the branch. My other brother, they broke the branch so easily. Dad said, now give them to me. And we gave those branches to our father. He took those branches and he laid them side by side by side by side on each other. And he took a roll of duct tape. Yeah, every daddy got duct tape. We can go in the men's rooms right here and find a little bit of duct tape. Not too far away. Bet you got some. And he took that duct tape and wrapped it around the end of those branches at one end. And he wrapped it around the end of the branches at the other end. And he took those branches, which were now a bundle, and he gave it to my eldest brother, and he said, here, now break this. And he tried, and he couldn't break the bundle. He gave it to the second brother, Ron, who was much bigger than the first brother, and Ron seemed to be a little stronger, but still he could not break the bundle. And then in my hands, and I'm the tiniest one of them all. If Reggie and Ronnie couldn't break it, you know I couldn't. But I figured, being smart like I was, I put my knee on it. And I tried. I could not break that bundle. Dad looked at the three of us. The only words out of his mouth was, you see what I'm saying? And he walked away. I mean, I've gotten smart out my mouth before with my mama. And one time she pulled her arm all the way back, from Mississippi. And she came around like this and pay-ya-ya! Knocked them old funny words right on out my mouth. Daddy had a razor strap. You know how you go to the barber shop and they take that to the razor? He had that razor strap and had his boy cut grooves in it so his hand would fit around the strap. And then he could wrap it with some Velcro around his hands. And you lay on that ottoman and he could cut to pow. I have been whipped in every way that you can imagine as a child. I believe that that's part of the reason why, as a 50-year-old man, I don't have no police record. People say, how you get to be 50 years old and didn't go to jail? Because my daddy beat my butt while I was little. So I have learned. But on this day, I got the lesson stronger than any lesson that was ever given. You see, when you're fussing and fighting and arguing all the time, you're like a little tiny stick just out there in the world, just waiting to be broken. But when you are working together, when you are trying to be a part of one, when you are a family, you are a bundle. And when working as a bundle, you cannot be broken. Oh, we got that lesson so well. Me and my two brothers, we went out and figured about mathematically how far could the little skinny boy throw something. And we walked out and went all the way down, right over the fence and right next to the mound where we used to play baseball. And there was the knob for the TV. Yes. Brought that knob back in the house. Put it back where it belonged. And that day on, anybody wanted to watch anything they wanted to watch, it was okay. We'd always ask each other, do you mind if I turn the TV? We learned our lesson that day. 3 sticks. Thank you. Oh, let you dance. So when we're traveling around, and thank you guys are very kind. Thank you for letting me share stories. Thank you. We try to use the various art forms to celebrate our culture, to give folk a moment of entertainment, sometimes just to change the vibe and energy of a situation.